What's going on, everybody? Today we are recapping week 3 in the NFL. Sorry that my last video, the audio was a little bit off. It's because I was playing a song on my computer and it was kind of messing with the audio, and I'm learning as I go. And today I'm trying out this new mic. So hopefully this works out. And if it doesn't work out, I'm sorry about that. Bear with me. I'm learning as I go. But today we have to recap week 3 of the NFL. We put in our picks, and I'm just going to tell you right now, I have not counted these up. But I don't have a great feeling. I do not think I did well. So let's start it off. We got the Buffalo game right. We already knew that, though. Green Bay at Cleveland. I picked the Packers, and I was wrong because they lost. They lost in Cleveland. I did think 7.5 was kind of a high line, but Green Bay is like a Super Bowl contender, I thought. What's going on? The Packers lose. And they were in position to take the lead. It was 10-10 late in the fourth. Then they just gave it back. Cleveland, a bad pick by Jordan Love is what set it up, but then they get their field goal blocked. Then Cleveland comes down and gets theirs 55-yarder at the end of regulation to win it. So that was a thrilling ending to a somewhat boring game. All right. Indy at Tennessee lost. This was my upset. I had the Titans finally getting a win, and I was wrong because Indianapolis is 3-0, and they're looking really good. Do you know they have not punted yet this NFL season? 3 straight weeks with no punts. Their punter has been getting paychecks for doing 0. Warming up, essentially. That's all he's been doing, and he's collected 3 weeks of paychecks. Good for that guy. Good for the Colts. They're 3-0. Cincy at Minnesota, I got it wrong, and I am so glad I got it wrong. I said this last week. I'm willing to sacrifice this game. I would be thrilled if I'm wrong, and I was wrong because the Vikings looked ridiculous. But it's mainly because their defense is elite. And I've been saying that. Their defense is going to keep them in games. The offense, this exactly what Carson Wentz did is what Kevin O'Connell needs to do with J.J. McCarthy. He didn't have a ridiculous game. He had a pretty average to good game. Managed the offense. He went 14 for 20, 70% completion. Notice there was nothing crazy, no 3rd and 9, 7-step drop. Like, it wasn't like that. He took 3 bad sacks in the first half, but for the most part, dink and dunk, take the good gains when they're there, and you had a running game, actually, and the offensive line that held up. So good for the Vikings. Pittsburgh at New England. I got that one wrong, too, because – no. I got that one right. All right, thank God. First win. Pittsburgh actually took care of business here, so thank God. All right, so got that one right. The Rams at Philly. I got that one right also, and I did not think I was going to get it right because it was 26-7 LA at one point, but the Philadelphia Eagles came back. Jets at Tampa Bay. Close one. There was a blocked field goal in that game as well, returned for a touchdown, but Tampa Bay ended up pulling through there at the end, so they get that dub. Las Vegas at Washington. Man, the Raiders looked okay in week 1 when they beat the Patriots. But maybe the Patriots are just bad because now the Raiders 2 straight weeks have not looked good. So Washington survives the week without Jaden Daniels and gets the win. Good job by Marcus Mariota stepping in there. Atlanta at Carolina, wrong. The Panthers shut out the Atlanta Falcons. So all this talk about Penix Jr., starting to look pretty solid. Well, he did not look good in this game. Threw a very bad pick 6. And the Panthers killed the Falcons. Houston at Jacksonville. Got it wrong as well because the Texans are 0-3. Jacksonville won this game 17-10. Not too much exciting plays going on in this game, but Jacksonville gets their win, and Houston is in last place in the AFC South. Denver at the Chargers. Well, I got this one right because the Chargers and Herbert go to 3-0. I'm just saying, I said last week that they were one of those 3 teams I was trying to sneak into the top 5 rankings. Here's a little hint. They might have snuck in. All right. New Orleans at Seattle wasn't even close. This was over by halftime, and Seattle destroyed them. Special teams, defense, offense looked good. Seattle just looked really good. So good for the Seahawks. Dallas at Chicago. I had Dallas because I thought their offense, still had some weapons with CeeDee Lamb that, they could expose the Bears' bad defense, and they had Dak Prescott, who's an established quarterback, and that did not happen. CeeDee Lamb was hurt within the first quarter, and George Pickens gives up on plays all the time and doesn't really care. He's one of the most selfish players out there, in my opinion, and the Bears took it to him. And as I said, Caleb Williams is not the problem, and Caleb Williams looked really good in this game. So good for Caleb. just shy of 300 yards passing, but he had 4 touchdowns. 3 of those, at least, I think were wide open touchdowns because the Dallas defense is atrocious. So good for Chicago. I got that one wrong, though. The Bears get the win. Arizona, San Francisco. I got that one wrong also. Arizona was in prime position to win this game up by a safety. Yes, they got a safety near the end of the game to go up by 2 points. But San Francisco with Mac Jones drove down and got the win. Good for the Niners, but they are very banged up. Yes, they are 3-0 and on top of the NFC West. And even though they have a lighter schedule, man, I don't know how long that's going to last because they are dropping like flies over there in San Francisco. And it seems like it's always like that with them. So unfortunate for them. All right, Kansas City at the Giants. Well, the Chiefs got it done and they needed to, but they don't look the same, man. I know that it's Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice are not around, but I don't know that those guys coming back is going to fix all their problems. I think Kelsey's a little bit, I mean, this is the worst he's probably been because he's getting older, and that's just a normal trajectory. But, yeah, the Chiefs don't have it this year, I don't think. I mean, they're not going to be terrible, but I don't think they have it. And this sets up a very interesting game next week when the 1-2 Chiefs take on the 1-2 Baltimore Ravens, because the Ravens I got wrong as well because they lost to the Detroit Lions, who looked like the Detroit Lions that we know from last year. And I said this when the season started. I picked the Lions to still win this division in the NFC North because people just think that because Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn are gone, that suddenly those players and Dan Campbell are going to forget who they were. Like, no, they might be a little bit worse, but how many points are you giving? How many points is an offensive coordinator worth in a spread of a game? Because even if it's 3 points or 4 points, the Lions won 15 games last year. So thinking that they were going to go 7-10 or 8-9 or whatever, like a lot of people thought, would be just ridiculous. They're a good football team. They get the job done in Baltimore and get the win. Good for the Lions. So overall, yikes, rough week for me. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games right. 7-9 for me. Not good. Not good. But you know what is good is that football is in full swing and that there is NBA Media Day starting to happen around the league with different teams having it today. A few others will have it tomorrow as the week goes on. So we will talk some NBA as well this week. Especially, we have to talk about the Houston Rockets and the predicament that they find themselves in because news was announced yesterday that Fred VanVleet tore his ACL, training presumably, and he is likely out for the whole season. And you know what? Like maybe replacing the numbers of Freddie VanVleet, you can find a way to if other guys step up. And obviously now the Rockets have Kevin Durant. But the on-court leadership and the calmness that Fred VanVleet brings, that is the biggest factor, in my opinion, that will hurt the Houston Rockets. So we'll talk more about that. We'll talk about the NBA. We'll start having to preview some NBA, divisions and conference and see how, this season's going to shake up. But exciting times. This is the best time of year. Basketball's about to start. Baseball's about to be in the playoffs. NFL is in full swing. We need to do our power rankings for this week after all these week 3 games. And I'll tell you what, from the top 5 teams that I had, quite a bit lost. I'm trying to remember who exactly. So the Rams were in my top 5. They lost to Philly, who's in the top 5. Buffalo, top 5, they won. So out of my 5 teams last week in the ranking, 3 of them lost. The Ravens, the Rams, and the Packers. So did that open the door for some of these teams to sneak in? And how many of them? Because remember, I said the Chargers and the Buccaneers were right there, and the Detroit Lions as well. And those 3 got the job done this week. So we will see. I'll break it down. We'll do a top 5 NFL rankings tomorrow. And like I said, we'll talk NBA and keep going, keep talking sports. I love sports a whole bunch, and this best time of year for that. Please subscribe, comment, and let me know what you guys think, and we'll hopefully this microphone worked out. Talk to y'all tomorrow.